Hello, everyone. Welcome back to today's episode. I am so excited because I am joined by an incredible client. And what do I call you? Past friend? No.
Friend, new friend, best friend.
So, Jade is a content creator, entrepreneur, and now mum to be. She is also an author of an incredible book that we're going to speak about. And honestly, it's like a full whirlwind, this whole you being here on the podcast, because I used to watch you on YouTube 11, 12 years ago when I was in my bodybuilding, fitness, crazy stage. So I just know this is going to be such a great conversation because yeah, it's just a full 360. Like we're now, well, I'm a mum and you're about to
Yeah.
become a mum. And yeah, I'm just so excited to have you here on the podcast today.
Thank you.
And yeah, whether you're pregnant, trying for a baby, wherever you are in your motherhood journey, I just know this conversation's going to be so helpful. So, welcome, Jade.
Thank you for having me, and thank you everyone for listening. I hope you find some like nuggets of wisdom within today's episode, which I'm sure you will, because you always give the nuggets of wisdom in everything
I
that you
try.
do.
I try. I do. I try. I'm going to have to put my glasses on because I see you on my little
We're ready. We're
screen, but
ready.
yeah, my eyesight is not great. So for anyone that doesn't know you, Jade, come on, let's do a little bit of an intro because yeah, why not?
Well, I started posting on social media like you said, like 12 years ago. And I look back at who I was then versus who I am now. And like we've grown up since then. Like you've had babies, we've gone on these like big life journeys, and it's been really nice to continue sharing where I'm at in life along that. And seasons change, chapters change in life, and I'm now at that stage where I'm going to become a mum, which is amazing. But a lot of people first found me on social media when I was into fitness, I was competing. I kind of made that my whole life and identity. And it was such a fun journey to be showing up on social media and like sharing advice and helping girls and like, being an inspiration and also seeking inspiration myself. And then, you go off in life and you try and find yourself and find the things that bring you joy and maybe the parts of you that you lost along the way. And then somehow I've landed up here and I'm 31 now and I feel like very grown
Oh,
up, but also I feel like a complete newbie as well because I'm now at the very start of a new chapter in life,
yeah.
which is, yeah, motherhood, which is so
It,
exciting.
it's so exciting. It's funny as well because like it's funny that we both came from the bodybuilding, competing background. Did you
Yeah.
step on stage? Did you go on stage?
Oh my God, like 20 times or something like that. Like when I say I fully went in, it became, it was a beautiful avenue to have that social media. It was right at the like golden era of social media when it first
Yeah.
started growing, and actually to be able to build a career and quit my like 9 till 6 that I was working and, do the whole influencer thing. And, that came with competing. Like the more competitions I did, the more kind of exposure I had, the more sponsors I got. And it was a really cool journey that like gave me a reason to travel, and it gave me money, and it gave me a purpose. And then kind of got to that stage around 24 where I was like, why am I doing this and why am I
I get
showing
it.
up, and like what's the message here? And like, it's funny when your whole identity has been about like how you look and the need for approval of it from other people, and especially social media and like validation. And I hit that stage where I was like, wait, who am I without all these things, and would people still like me, and does that even matter? And
Yeah.
yeah, that kind of encouraged me to go off on a journey. And it's funny because I kept on going back to what I knew, which was comfortable, which was competing. And I went back in
Yeah.
like 2020 and I did it again when in 2022. And I realized that like I was trying to be a version of myself that I no longer was. And I was doing it because I knew it gave me a sense of identity and safety. And then that's what kind of was the catalyst for me to strip all that back and like really go on like a soul
Yeah.
seeking journey of like, who am I if I'm not who I thought I was? And that
Uh,
ended up making me write a book. And that's been kind of my last journey for the last couple of years. And then I got pregnant. So
Crazy. It's funny, isn't it? Because when I look back to like when I competed, bodybuilding, and all that stuff, everyone that you speak to backstage, they all do it for a reason. A lot of the time it
yeah,
is due to trauma, like
yeah,
trying to prove something, like dopamine hit, like all of these things. And actually, when you
yeah,
become a mum, I feel so far away from that version that I was. And like
Yeah.
even now I still have in my head, like if I don't have enough protein, I've got this little protein bum hole. I
Yeah,
don't want to
yeah.
swear, but this protein person in my head going, "You need more protein."
It's so true, and
Yeah.
it's deconditioning those
Yeah.
former beliefs. And I think motherhood is a really beautiful journey where, first of all, you just have to completely surrender your body to the unknown, like when you go on
Yeah.
that. And it's the actual opposite of, the societal conditioning or the bodybuilding culture. Even if you're not in bodybuilding, this like pressure to be skinny, to be small, to
Yeah.
hold your tummy in, to look a certain way, to go to the gym a certain amount of times a week. And especially if you've created that identity, even if you're not like a professional bodybuilder, I know every woman can probably relate to me in that sense. We've probably had body issues along the
Oh my
way, or
God,
just
yeah.
some form of like relationship with food, the gym, whatever it is, overdoing it, underdoing it. And you become pregnant, and all of a sudden it's like you have to completely surrender that of like, oh, my tummy's not going to be in anymore, and I'm not going to be lean, and I'm not going to have the energy to go to the gym, nor do I want to. That sounds disgusting.
Oh
And
no.
it's funny, it does decondition you in a way, but I felt like I started that journey, myself like a couple of years ago when I realized like, who am I if I'm not this fitness girl on social media? And I was starting to like, okay, well, who am I if I gain a bit of weight? And then like, do people still judge me? And yeah, you got like a lot of hate for it. Or like, who am I if I'm not going to the gym 5 times a week and I'm going out surfing and I'm going on walks
Yeah.
instead? And it is this like really kind of like peeling back the layers to find out who you are underneath everything that you thought you should be,
So
or
important. It's so because
yeah,
you don't even know yourself, then how can anyone? And actually, who bloody cares who's given
yeah,
hate? Who cares? Like,
yeah,
you just have to block them out because
yeah,
you are you, and that's powerful. And you're a bloody
yeah.
incredible you're gonna be an incredible mum. I know you are. And
You know what? It is funny though, because like becoming a mom, like you have to decondition all these versions of yourself. You talk about archetypes. It's the maiden to mother archetype. You go from
mm,
being the maiden of being like me, what do I want to do? Like what's best for me? And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, what's best for the baby? What's best
yeah,
for this thing that I'm growing? And like what do I actually need right now versus like gaslighting myself into doing something I don't want to do? It's like
yeah,
you really have to tune in when you go on any sort of like pregnancy journey, if it's conception, whatever it is, of like what's going to support my body best right now, which is the complete opposite to hustle culture, which I write about in my book. Is just this like pressure of like hustling, doing more,
it's
doing the
mad.
most, making the most. And it's like when you're pregnant or when you're conceiving, it's like it's the complete opposite. It's like slowing
Yeah,
down,
slow down.
listening to
Yeah,
your body. And then I feel like I'm coming into this chapter and I have this like foreknowing of, okay, I'm going to now become a mom and I'm going to have absolutely no idea who I am. And I think it's really exciting if you don't let it overwhelm you. And I know so many moms and friends who say, oh, I feel like I lost myself. And like, and I
I
think there's
did.
a
Yeah,
real beauty in losing yourself, because I've lost myself many times. And I really want women to know that it's okay to lose yourself, because actually lost is a really lovely place to find a new
mm,
version of you. But if
that's
you
such a
feel
lovely
all
way to look at it.
yeah, it
That
can feel all consuming. Like if you're in the void, like a, dark night of the soul, whatever it is, like you go through different, it's not just motherhood. This just kind of like, oh God, I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what I want. What should I
yeah,
do? But you become a mother and all of a sudden it's like, I can't relate to anything anymore. And it's like no longer just about me, but actually that is the perfect foundation to like plant seeds on like who
yeah,
it is that you want to become. But it's like you have to have that mentality and you have to have that mindset versus like just, popping out the baby and being like, oh my God, I haven't thought about myself at all.
no.
Like, what do I
It's a
need?
full it is a full turn of events. I know when
It's an
Nelly
ego. It's an ego. I know for a fact, like it's like a complete ego death. And
yeah,
it's interesting. I read or heard this quote, and it was like the transition in labor is like your old self dying and your new self being born.
yeah,
And there's a real grace in knowing when something's just been born like a baby, you don't expect it to know everything. Yet we
No.
have this pressure that we put on ourselves to know everything and do everything right and become that old version of ourselves again. But it's like the old version of yourself is gone. And who is this new version of you that you're stepping into? And I feel like my whole 20s was just like a catalyst of like
Oh my God.
death, rebirth, death, rebirth,
It's
death,
great.
rebirth.
Even hearing you say that brings me so much comfort because I was so lost when I had Nelly. I
Yeah,
remember popping her out and just looking at her thinking, I love you so much, but
yeah,
I am lost.
yeah.
I'd look at my husband and I'd cry. I'd look at Nelly and I'd cry. I'd look at myself and cry. And I was just like, I weren't sat in that, look, just let it be. The seeds that you've planted, let them grow. I weren't in that place. I was in a downward spiral. Like the plants weren't planting.
Plants are,
They
and
were
I think it's
sinking.
hard because like if the foundation is already like rocky, which it is because like all the hormones
Yeah,
and everything that women go through, and then also you're, I can relate because my best friend, she's just had a baby and she's like, my body doesn't feel like mine,
mine. Yeah,
and to exist in a meat suit that doesn't feel like you can be really jarring.
yeah,
But that's when it's like actually looking inwards, like who am I beyond this? Who am I beyond this body?
absolutely.
Beyond this house, beyond this kind of like season that I'm in. Because, it's like all mothers say, it's like a year goes by and they look back and they're like, oh, I made it through. I got through that.
Yeah,
And it's like that in any journey of life, whatever it is that you're in, it's a season and it will pass. And so it's like when you can actually tune inwards and hold on to that sense of self beyond the physical, beyond the emotional, and really hold that sense of like, I'm okay, like I've got this. And I feel like that's one thing that's held me through every, dark night that I've been
yeah.
through is just like, I've made it through everything before and I'm going to make it through this. It's just like,
So
it's
powerful.
temporary. It's
I wish
temporary.
I had your brain on my head when I had my baby.
Yeah, but now
Li
but now I feel so fortunate that I have your brain on my head to prepare me for birth and baby, which is like that new space. And I think that's the beauty of social media and everything like that.
this is why Bump to Babies, Birth Babe, and everything exists because
Yeah.
I lost myself so much, and I truly believe it was due to lack of knowledge and
Yeah.
lack of support. And if I can help 1, 2, 10, 100 people walk into this feeling prepared and ready, I've won at life. Like,
Yeah, it's funny that like people say that on social media, even if it like, it's really easy to get caught up in metrics and algorithms or
yeah,
like paychecks or whatever it is. And no matter what field of work you're in, it's like it's hard, right? You're always comparing yourself. But actually if you strip it back and you're like, well, if I can just help one person, then
yeah,
I've bettered someone's life. And
100%.
I think, yeah, even back when I was like sharing like fitness or this or that, it was with the goal of like just helping another girl out who's also in a similar place than I am. And it's this idea that we're all just walking each other home in a
Exactly.
way, like home to ourselves. And I think when I started writing my book, it was that same intention, like, well, I feel like I've gone on all these journeys and I've learned all these things in life. And it's like, actually, so has everyone else. We're all on a
Yeah,
journey, we're all on our own unique journey. And if you look at pregnancy, it's like they make it very like the same. And it's
yeah.
like no one's two
No one's the
pregnancy
same.
journeys are the same. No two bodies are the same. Like no, the way things work, it's like even with, fitness, what a diet plan that works for one person isn't going to work for someone else. And
No.
it's like I think that's what's so empowering and
I'm
stuff
lit
with birth and pregnancy. It's like do what works for you.
Yeah. I was sat on the
Yeah.
beach the other day and I was sat there and I was looking at the pebbles on the beach and I was like, they're all different shapes and
They're all
sizes. And I'm like,
different.
so
Yeah.
are we. Like,
Yeah, we are.
I just, I twist everything I see into birth and pregnancy. And I'm like, yeah, all them pebbles are different. And that's
No, but
beautiful.
it is. And I like in the book, I talk about how like it's funny, strippers and businessmen are the same, right? Like actually, and I compare like a strip club to a boardroom, and like you would think they're like complete opposites. Like one is very highly regarded, like, it's sophisticated, da da da. And then you've got the other end of it, like the polar opposite. But like the nuance is there and like the similarities, they're there. And it's you, that's what I mean. We are all walking each other home. We are all mirrors to each other and we're all on our own journeys. And it's the journey of life being born and then dying and everything else in between is going to be unique and special, but actually we go through heartbreak, we go through job loss, we go through health issues. If we're lucky, we go through birth, if that's something that we choose. And we all have these kind of like milestones that are the same. And it's like how we can help each other out in the middle bits is, I think, what makes life a little bit more meaningful.
Yeah.
But it is birth and pregnancy especially, and even if you're trying to conceive, like, that journey can feel so lonely, and I know I experienced that, like, in the first couple of months, and it's the same kind of loneliness I felt in life when I've hidden parts of myself because you are like, you're in this, like, unknown, and
Yeah.
it can feels like so much if you don't have support there, you know?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think sometimes you have this path in your head that you think, right, that's the path that I'm going to follow. Yeah, it might be, say, for instance, you go to school and you leave school and you become a corporate girly and you stay in the corporate world and you do all of these things. And that's fine if that's what you want. But it is okay to not do that if that's not what you
Yeah.
want. Like, it's okay to listen to your heart and listen to your head. And if it's telling you to go in an opposite direction, like you moved your whole life from where were you? You were somewhere,
I
then
was
you went to
in
Bali.
London, then Bali, then back to then to Somerset. And if you had asked me if I'd ever been in Somerset, I would have been like, "You what?" But it's again just like allowing. It's actually really funny how you can, like, we talk about relating everything back to birth, but you so can. You can relate life to also birth of like not being so fixed on like a final destination, but having the goal in mind of like what it is that you want to achieve, and also aligning your life or your choices to what morally feels correct for you or what intuitively feels right. And so it's interesting. It's like you can have a plan in life of what you think it is, and then all of a sudden you can pivot.
Yeah,
And
and that's okay.
you don't lose anything. It just means you take a different turn and you experience a different experience. And then you can decide if that's for you or not. And then you can pivot. Like nothing is permanent. And I think realizing that and letting myself be kind of like fluid in things, but then also staying like learning. Honestly, it was a practice of learning how to stay true to myself and not letting outside noise influence me. And where I can relate to that on a birth, you can have an idea of like, oh, I want to have this kind of birth. And then all of a sudden it's like there's a pivot. And then it's like you might be going down a different path. And then you're like, oh, this doesn't feel good. I'm going to pivot. Or you get an opportunity or something inspires you. And then you're like, wait, I'm going to 360 this bad boy and
Yeah,
try
that's
something else.
fine.
And I think that's just like life. They say like water doesn't change, it just changes its shape due to the environment that it's put in, but the water stays the same. So if you think of yourself like that, like being able to be fluid, but also knowing when to like change your path or change your shape. And
Love
that's what I
that.
feel like I've been doing like in life. And
Yeah,
it's these life experiences and these life lessons. Sometimes they're not always good.
no,
I call them blessings. When you have a big lesson in life, maybe it's like toxic relationship or a toxic job, whatever, you learn something in it. And, there's stuff you can take away from that. And then same goes for birth. You could have a terrible experience with a professional or an environment and then be like, okay, I'm going to take what's for me and I'm going to leave the rest and I'm going to
yeah.
pivot and move on. And
Well, I think
it's never, yeah,
it's amazing that as human beings, we can take our trauma and our life lessons and all of these things and actually teach others to,
yeah,
that's incredible. And like when you were saying about the water and pivoting, I explain to everyone, all of my clients, that preparing for birth or creating a birth plan or having this plan in mind is like a tree, and you've got your tree trunk and all of your roots, and your roots are your core values and everything that you believe in. and they never change. Like, your roots stay there. Even if the tree was to blow over, your roots are probably still deeply grounded in the earth.
Yeah.
So then with your birth, yes, you might have an idea that you want to have a home birth, which, say, for instance, is the trunk. Then you've got all of these branches, which might be a transfer to hospital, might
Yeah.
be an epidural, might be all of these things. It doesn't mean you're going to go up that branch, but they're there. And
Yeah.
I think it's such a good way to look at it, that your roots, your core values, your beliefs are still going to stay the same.
Yeah. But
Birth
they're
isn't
not
always.
given. That's yeah, that's one thing people have to realize, like those values and those beliefs and those, decisions that feel right to you, they're not just God given. You have to find them. That is something that you like, it's a journey. And I think people, when they go into things and just kind of like course through life, or they just follow the path that's given to them, maybe it's like a hospital path, for example, and they just go up, show to the appointments, and don't do their own digging and searching, you're gonna
Yeah,
go,
absolutely.
on a path that might not be for you. And so, same in life. If you don't go searching for what it is that you want, who it is that you want to be, the things that make you feel good, the things that you hear and you get that body yes, like, no, yeah, that feels good to me. And then and being able to discern what's a no, right? It's like
Yeah.
same with birth. You have to like be courageous in that and actually say what feels right for me. Like,
Let's
do I
speak
agree
up.
with that? But where do I feel like I want to draw my line, or where do I need more research or help, or whatever it is? And I feel like that was like me trying to find out who I was as well. Like,
Yeah.
okay, like what kind of person do I want to show up in the world as? Oh, where are my patterns, or where am I maybe ignoring something? And it's like all that kind of like, it's like not always the nicest, that like deep
No.
diving, but it's in that you find your answers. And I think because I've done that work with birth and like really like, the hospital
Education for
system
yourself.
and like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really been like, what kind of, not even what kind of birth do I want, because we don't always get to decide that, but what kind of relationship with birth do I want to have? And it's the same kind of relationship with self do I want to have. And I want to have a relationship with myself where I really feel like I know myself. I know the ins and outs. And that way I can come up with, really solid, concrete kind of answers and decisions in life and choices. And it's the same
Yeah.
with birth, like really having a relationship with birth and a relationship with the pregnancy journey where I know things, I have my own answers, I've done my own research, because then I feel confident in myself.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of women lack confidence in life and lack confidence with birth if they don't know what's really
Yeah. Yeah.
going on. Because, yeah,
Yeah. I often have people come to me after they've given birth and they're like, I've been watching your stuff for months, and they're like, I wish that I done your course. I wish that I prepared, because I went into that and I was just swallowed up whole. And
yeah, and life will do that to you. Life isn't
yeah,
an easy journey. Like, there's duality, and the world isn't always a nice place, and people do not have your best interest all the time. And I try not lean into that, that like everyone's out to get you or everyone's out to hurt you. You have
yeah,
to live in the positive space of intention of like, no, good things happen and people want what's best for me, but also knowing that you are your own advocate in life. Like, there's no way I wouldn't have become who I am and gotten the opportunities that I have and gone on the journey that I have if I didn't advocate for myself or know what I want. Like,
no,
knowing what you want and knowing who you want to be gives you the foundation to actually go after it. You can't go into something and ask for something if you don't know what that is. And equally, you can't go into a space and deny something if you're not sure that that's something that you don't want. And I think that what's really humbling is knowing that I'm going into the complete unknown, because baby could come anytime soon, like in the next couple of weeks. I'm like, and knowing that it could go completely tits up and can go the opposite way of everything that I want, but knowing I can be like, hey, like I can ask the right questions. I know what feels good for me. Like, being able to trust myself and not just let someone tell me who I am or what's best for me. Like, knowing that yourself is so empowering, and it's also
yeah,
just beyond birth and anything like that. Like, as a woman and as a human in this world, being able to stand up for yourself and advocate for yourself and also stay strong on your morals without
so important.
anything shaking you. And I think we all went through that with the pandemic, COVID, like all this, like the world was shaky. And it's like when the world shakes, you have to have, like you said with the tree, strong foundations.
Yeah.
And there's this like with the root, it's like the deeper you go within yourself to find the answers that sometimes feel uncomfortable, the deeper you're growing those roots because the more you're getting to know yourself on like a deep, deep level. And I truly believe people can only meet you where you're at. So if you're only willing to look here, people are only going to get to here. And it's like the more you can go in and get to know yourself, the more you can allow people to get to know you and see you. And I think that's so beautiful when you think about having a child, like to be so open and like I don't know, it feels really different to maybe the generation before us where I feel like our parents were so closed off and they didn't
So
really let
close
us
off.
in. And to actually understand yourself, I think is one of the biggest gifts that
Yeah.
you can give like the next generation. And actually the biggest gift that you can give to people, like even if you weren't to have babies, it's like, for your partner, for your family to really just like, yeah, be in touch with who you are. But
So
that's
important.
a that's a journey and that's
That
a choice.
whole yeah,
It's
like,
a
that is a whole conversation itself, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
I know for me, I completely lost myself 3 years ago when my parents split up. It was like my whole world
World, yeah.
crashed down, and I had to re-find myself, and I would say only in the last this is ridiculous because this sounds like literally, I'd say the last month is where I've
Yeah.
truly started to pull out the, like, weeds.
Yeah,
Like,
but
I've
it's
only
because
just
there's
got
like one identity there. There's a version of you that you've known, a version of
yeah,
your family that you've known. And then all of a sudden that gets fragmented and the pieces are
yeah.
everywhere. And it's kind of like you're picking up those pieces, trying to figure out how to put yourself back together. Whereas actually it's like, okay, well, what does this new reality look like? Like
Yeah,
it's hard because you have to grieve what was. And sometimes that's the biggest heartbreak. But
yeah,
when you grieve what was, you also allow space for something new to come in, a
yeah,
new kind of relationship that you can have with people, a new way of existing, a new way of doing life, maybe new people that get to come into your life as a
yeah,
result of parents splitting. And actually,
yeah,
when you can look at it from that lens of like, you never lose anything, you just create space for something new.
yeah.
Um, it's,
That's
but
a
it's
beautiful
brief.
way to look at it.
Yeah.
It's such like, I feel like when you're in the depths of it, you can't look else
No.
you can't,
You're
can you?
grieving. It's like a
Yeah,
breakup, and I feel like my 20s were just teaching me, and I felt like my lessons always came through love and, heartbreak and all that. But it was like in that grief, I was like, it's sad. There's sorrow. It's like you've lost something that you wanted or a version of you. Like it's like I remember I went through a breakup and it was like a Saturday and we always spent Saturdays together and I was like, what do I do today? Like
yeah,
my Saturdays are messed up. I'm like I had to like
yeah,
compartmentalize my brain. But actually, then it's like, yeah, it's that, okay, well, now I can do whatever I want. I can meet new
yeah,
people. And it takes time. Any sort of journey, like healing journey, especially, takes time. And you have to apply that to yourself with motherhood. It's like you're healing physically, you're healing hormonally, you're also completely giving yourself to something and doing something for the very first time. But actually, we all always have to be beginners in life. Like, it's all well and good being the expert, but actually, you don't grow through that. Like, you grow in life, like, you probably know, and other mothers can relate, like, how much you've grown and, like, leveled up since
oh
being a
my god,
mom.
yeah.
Like, moms are
The level of
invincible.
multitasking is
Yeah.
unreal. The other day,
Yeah.
I was at the park with my little boy, right, and he had his swim shorts on, they were on, like, a water play park thing, and he ran over to me, crouched down, he's went, I need a poo," I need a poo. And as a mum, I was like, "Right, I've got to get his shorts off, I've got to get his nappy on." I started pulling down his shorts, and he started pooing, and I was like, "I'm just gonna have to catch it in my hand." And
Humbling,
that
humbling,
is
you know?
motherhood.
Yeah, it is. And do you know what? There's a real kind of beauty in the humbling, in this
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I have to deal with what's in front of me right now, and I am not in control. And as humans and as people, we love to be in control. It's our ego. It means that it's predictable. Everything is like, nothing's gonna stir things. But it's like, how can you stay solid in that? It's exactly like the tree. It's like when things around you are like,
Yeah.
a bit all over the place, it's like life is going to be like that. I think that is the journey of life when you can accept that it's not perfect and it's never going to be the way that you thought it would be. I feel like pregnancy taught me this. Is like I had this idea of like what being pregnant would be like, and then I got pregnant, and like it all went tits up, and I just was like, navigating it and going through those things, like those things that no one tells you about and like no one prepares you for, and like those conversations kind of aren't had until like maybe it's like happening right there and there. And I feel like motherhood might be like that as well. It's like all of a sudden you're like catching a poo and you're like, why did no one tell me this would happen? Right?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't expect nothing less from my son, to be honest.
Right. But
But
I feel like a lot of pregnancy, I've been like, why has no one warned me?
well,
Like,
even
why
him, I was
does,
like, why did I not just let it fall on the floor? Because now
but
my
yeah,
mouth is covered in.
but I because we try and say
Wanted
things
to
and like,
maintain his dignity, but in turn,
I
I
just like,
lost my own.
but it is funny how then you do have to just like let that go. I feel especially in birth, you're just like, this is how it is. I mean, don't they say that you sometimes poop in birth and like a midwife's
Yeah,
just gonna catch that poop, scoop it up,
yeah.
but
I
no,
was like a tap.
yeah, there's been many things in pregnancy where I'm like, no one told me this. Like, what the hell? Like, I feel like cheated. But then, and then you speak to mums and they're like, oh yeah, I had to me. Like,
Yeah.
I had that weird symptom, and you're like, shouldn't this be common knowledge?
For me, definitely, it's like piles. They're never spoke
Yeah,
about. I suffered horrendous piles with both pregnancies. I think it was
my
weight
vagina
lifting.
swelled up. I've had a
Vagina.
swollen vagina for
Yeah,
weeks, and
gloomy waffle. Not literally, but that
it's
swollen.
it's funny. It's like no one told me, no one prepared me, and
Yeah,
it
it's
was.
gonna get
I went to the
worse as well.
Yeah, I went to the midwife and I was like, something's wrong. And she was like, no, babe, like that's normal. And I feel like, maybe that's like where I'm at in life of like wanting to share the things that maybe we have shame around, maybe not just
Yeah,
a swollen vagina, but like, these things in life that we have shame around or we hide from people or we don't want to tell people because we're like, oh my God, is this normal if it's not normal? And actually, there's so much liberation and so
yeah,
much beauty in actually sharing the really raw, vulnerable things in life. Like you sharing about feeling like kind of in the thick of it with your parents. It's like someone's going to hear that and be like, oh my God, same. Like,
I
I
feel.
see myself in you. And then when you have the answers of how you navigated it and how,
Yeah,
things helped you along the way, you can share that and help someone as a result of it. But unless you have the courage to share it, or unless you have the willingness to find the tools that are going to help you get through something, you're not going to have anything to share, first of all. So you have to do that. And that's like once you've
yeah,
done that, and then you have the courage to share it, you're going to help someone. And then that person's going to help someone. And it has a knock on effect. And I really realized that because there was so many pieces and parts of myself in life that I had so much shame around and I hid from myself. And when I did share it with someone, they were like, oh my God, that's so cool. Oh my God, I never knew that
yeah.
about you. Like it opened up a conversation, and actually that's how connection is made. That's how we, really relate to people. And it's
And
also
we're
how we
all
help
humans.
people.
We
Yeah,
are
we are. And
all humans.
yeah.
There's so many of us worried, going into labour that our midwife's going to judge us for our hairy vagina and our midwife's going to judge us for our piles. They are a girl too.
Yeah.
They don't care. They just want to
Yeah.
make sure you're safe and your baby's safe. I
You would hope
wear
so.
this. I
Like
wear
I
my
feel like
whole heart on my sleeve. I share everything and I think it helps. It helps so
I
many.
feel like, yeah, in especially British culture, I lived in Indonesia for 6 years for anyone who doesn't know me. And they are so blunt. They say it how it is. They don't apologize for what they're saying. Like it is a culture shock. Like it would be like, you look so tired today, or Jade, you look fat today. Before you were thin, or Jade, before you were prettier. What happened? Like it's really blunt and like direct, and sometimes you're like, huh? Whereas I feel like in British culture, we apologize for everything. We tiptoe
God, yeah.
around things. Like, I when I went for my swollen vagina examination, I apologized because no one told me that one day I would wake up and not be able to see my vagina anymore. So that was a shock to the system. All of a sudden that happened. I was like, I would have liked that information in advance from a mother to be like, okay, at around this mark, like you're probably gonna want to shave and make sure everything's good down there. Because one day I was in the shower and I no longer could look down, and I don't think I was meant to be prepared for that. But I found myself apologizing for being who I was. I went to
Oh,
the
yeah.
chiropractor this morning and apologized if I smelled, and she was like, "You're fine." And I was like,
Yeah,
"Okay." I think it's like this conditioning that,
we
like,
do.
we do as especially British people, let me tell you, but also as women, we apologize for taking up space. We apologize for not being perfect. We apologize for being who we are and a little bit imperfect. And I actually think when we can let that go and just be like, this is who I am, my flaws and all, is actually when you actually are truly alive and truly living. And I think that, like you said, the way to do that is by wearing your heart in your sleeve, or wearing wearing who you are on your chest, like not hiding parts of yourself and like being like, this is me. Wonderful.
Yeah, I love it. And when I meet people that do wear their hearts on their sleeves as well, I'm like, I just feel like I've found my people. And if
Yeah.
I share something, like if I share about piles and I share some tips about piles and I've had 2 surgeries for my piles, if I share that, the influx of messages I get, oh my God, like I think I've got a pile. I'm like, girl, just send me a photo. I'll
Yeah,
let you know.
you're like, I got, and it's really
Yeah.
beautiful to have that and have that space. I joined a Facebook group and it was like babies that are going to be born in like, like August or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like 900 women in the country, in the UK, who were
Wow.
all giving birth at the same time. And it's like, I feel like you have to take out kind of what's for you and not lean into too
Hmm.
much, because it's really easy with the media, with everything, to feel all consumed, especially when
Gets
you're
overwhelmed.
trying to maybe be in a positive mindset and someone else is in a negative mindset. And that's why I feel like what you expose yourself is really important. But I
Mm.
have found it helpful. And there was one girl yesterday and she was freaking out that she had like herpes on her vagina, like it's just come out of nowhere, and like she was
Yeah.
like freaking out. And just being able to be like, hey girl, this is what you got to do. Don't worry about it. Help her out. Like, make someone feel a little bit more like seen, and also like not
Oh,
so alone in something, is,
yeah.
I think, is so beautiful, and that only happens when you have the willingness to be like, it's okay. You're not
Yeah.
alone. Like, I've been there too, girl. Like, what you're going through, I've been through. Like you said about your
Oh,
parents, I'm like, oh God, girl, I went through that twice. I know that, right? It's like,
yeah.
and you're like, I see you in that because I know what that feels like. And
Yeah.
vice versa, when you are also helping your clients, it's like, oh girl, I've been where you were. And
Been there,
also,
yeah, I've
yeah, and
done
also
it.
helping people maybe not make the same mistakes that you potentially
Yeah.
make. Or, if you've learned something and you're like, oh, I would do this differently next time, being able
Yeah.
to give that advice to people. And then if they want to take it, amazing. And if they don't, great. Because, like I said, no two preferences are the same with any kind of
No.
birth, really. Like, I have a friend, she's 3 days different to me, and our birth preferences couldn't be
Further apart.
opposite. But
Yeah, yeah.
same with even mothering preferences are completely
Yeah.
opposite ends of the spectrum of like what we want, how we're going to do things. And it's doesn't mean you can't have a relationship with that person, but it's like just
No.
really seeing how different
And
two
it's just
of the
her
same
roots are different.
experience.
Her roots are
Yeah.
different to yours, and
The
she's
tree is
still
different, the tree is
yeah,
different, the fruit is different, and
yeah.
it's okay. It's okay to go against the grain. It's okay to go on your own path and, do something differently if that feels right for you in life or in birth or anything, even if it sounds a little bit unconventional. Like, my life has been very unconventional. So,
It's fine. I'm an unconventional queen.
yeah, and it's owning
I
that and being like, that's just, colorful. It's a colorful life.
Yeah, I love that. So going back to healing, like what are your main things that you would recommend for these mums that are maybe they've just had their baby, they've come out and they've lost themselves, they feel lost. What would you recommend?
I think it's like finding the things that, the old version of you, like finding the things that still spark joy in you and still make you feel good, and not the things that you feel like you have to do, right? Like, if, you love going out on walks or you love eating healthy, like holding on to the parts of you that like you would want to keep. It's like if you're going through your wardrobe and you're like, right, I'm doing a clear out. Like, what are the things that I still relate to or bring me joy or I'd be excited to wear? And what are the things that no longer fit? I've kind of outgrown, like they just kind of are a bit meh. And I think
Yeah.
that's what really has helped me, like looking at my life and being like, I've outgrown that. Like I don't really want to be that version of myself who wears that
Yeah.
anymore. It's like, actually, this is what I want. And also not being afraid to discover new things or try them out. Like I said, nothing is permanent, right? So it's like you can
Nothing,
try.
no.
No, it's like you can be like, okay, I'm going to try this or I'm going to do that. And then be like, nah, that doesn't bring me happiness. Because at my core, like you said about the protein at the start, I'm like, that's just a piece of me, right? That's just kind of
Yeah.
who I am. Like, I like to eat healthy and I like to eat my bro food. It's just how I am. I'm so much more flexible now where I can go and smash a
Have a
Tiger curry and
donut and
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
have a donut, like being flexible, but also like I would say to those moms who feel really lost right now, it's like do the things that make you feel happy. Like it's so cliche, but like those little like self-care things, even if it is just like putting on some lip gloss, washing your hair, like those small things that do make you feel like you because
So
you
much.
can. Yeah, it's like it's that self-care and that kind of like nourishment. I love the kind of term romanticizing your life. Like you can romanticize the mundane and it's in those like small little things that you do for yourself that make you feel good. Like I've joked the whole time I've been pregnant, I look like Adam Sandler in my boyfriend shorts and a t-shirt. Like I definitely, you know, you know,
Yeah.
like there is this realness and this like kind of relatability of like just being in this season, but actually like, no, I'm still eating healthy. I'm still doing the things that make me feel good for me. And I've let go of the perfectionism of needing to do it 5 days a week or, 7 days a week. It's like, even if you do it 2 days a week, that's enough. And how can I make myself and make my day still feel like a part of me? So maybe that's lighting a candle, maybe that's like putting the music on in the car and having a sing song, and it's like those pieces of you, like those things that light you up, they're always there, but they're going to be different for everyone. And so it's like I think a little bit of an audit of your life of like, okay, what is it that I like? Okay, I like it. I want a nice candle, nice music. Those are such simple things that you can do in your environment that make you feel good. Maybe it's for some people getting dressed nicely and putting on makeup. That's not for me, right? Like that's not for
Yeah.
me. But taking a couple of minutes to do skincare and like make myself feel a little bit more human, even if I am dressed like Adam Sandler, has been really has been
Well, I
helpful.
totally relate to this because
Yeah,
I say recently, it was about 6 months ago, I redecorated my room.
yeah,
Green walls, like a lovely cream bed. I wanted it to look very like vintage, golds, greens, like really nice, right? I done it and my whole identity changed. I friggin' hate going in that room now. And I've got to the point where I need to romanticize because I no longer enjoy going in my bed, reading my book, like doing the nice things for me just because the walls are not the color that I want them to be. So I'm not saying like if you're a mum, go paint your walls, but what I'm saying is
yeah.
that small things make such a difference. Buying yourself a new bed set, a room
They do.
spray, like
That's what's really funny? That kind of related. Like if you looked at the walls and that is like the external environment,
yeah,
sometimes we don't like the external environment. So maybe that's like we can't relate to the body that we have, or
yeah,
you've just had a baby and like you can't work out. You're not signed out. Maybe you had a C-section. It's like all of a sudden the environment is kind of like, oh, this feels off. I don't really like it. It's like, what can you do within that
yeah,
to find yourself, also bring joy, like spark a little bit of joy in your life and
yeah,
romanticize your life a little bit when it feels a little bit like all consuming and you're giving everything to everyone. And I think it is in those small little things, and they are going to be so different for everyone because maybe you're a new mom and maybe you don't have 10 minutes to yourself to read a book, but I promise you, you've got 30 seconds to light a candle, or
yeah,
we've got 2 minutes to prepare overnight oats or a chia seed pudding or something, to put in the fridge for the next day. So you're thinking of your future self and not just like how to survive. Because what happens is women, we get into survival mode, and when we're in survival mode, we're not thinking about our future self. We're just like,
no,
what do I need to do right now and how can I do it the fastest? And it's like slowing down and actually think, okay,
speed up.
what can I do for my future self? Can I take 2 minutes? Everyone can take 2 minutes for themselves to breathe, to, just make themselves feel nice, to brush their hair, whatever it is, go outside and just like feel the sun on your
I
skin.
know.
Anything like that that's just going to help regulate you and ground you back into your body is going to reconnect you to yourself. If you This is your home at the end of the day, it's your
Mm,
temple. And it's like when we feel overwhelmed in life or lost in life, it's like we've gone so far away, and it's a reminder to come back within. And
yeah,
sometimes that is like, I'm not a meditating kind of like breath work all the time girly. I'm just a bit too fiery for that. But what I can do is like activate my senses. And like as a woman, things that smell nice, things that look nice, things
yeah,
that feel nice. If you look at the five senses, it's just like activating a few of them, and then you're reconnecting with yourself. And I think it's that reminder of constantly reconnecting with yourself every time you lose yourself. And then when you reconnect to yourself, you're like, oh, I love doing that. I love singing. I love going and getting my nails done, right? And like
yeah, like,
you
it's the
find that
little
that you
things, yeah.
you find the things that you like, but you lose them. Life, you lose this in life. It
You
happens
do,
all the
yeah,
time.
it's you
And
become
then
a
it's like,
mum
oh,
and
yeah, you're like, "Wait, I love doing that. How did I forget that brought me joy?" Right? And it's like just
yeah.
those little reminders. But I always tell women just like you need to romanticize your life. Like it's that main character energy. And what happens when you have a baby is you are no longer the main character,
You're no longer the
unfortunately.
priority, like, your money no
No.
longer is you, so if you used to go for a massage and get your nails done, that's like £100 a month, isn't it? So you're like,
It's not
"Right, that
realistic.
goes into."
Yeah, it's all of a sudden like I've like it's so funny. I buy myself nothing and I buy this unborn baby everything.
Yeah,
And it is that like self-sacrifice. But as women we're naturally like that, right? We're givers. We want to give, we want to help, we nurture. It's like if you look at
yeah,
like masculine energy and feminine energy, the feminine energy, she's the nurturer, like she gives life, she gives milk, you give
yeah,
love, and it's still learning to receive, right? You still have
yeah,
to be able to receive and learning how to give to yourself. If maybe you're not receiving it from people around you, it's like, how can I give this to myself right now? And it sometimes might be as simple as like sticking something up on your mirror to be like, you are beautiful. Put
yeah,
lip gloss on, you're a bad bitch,
you've got
like
this.
little kind of reminders I think can be really helpful of like, okay, move
100
your body today. Take 5 minutes for you. Like whatever it is that's gonna help you stay on track
so
with feeling your
important.
best. I think I would say that if my best friend, I'm like, you can be like, I see you, like you're going through it, you'll make it through. But it doesn't always help someone when they're in it. And so I think practically it's good to have those things that
Doesn't.
make you feel good. And then,
Yeah.
ha- have that support system to hold you accountable as well.
Yeah, I was literally having this conversation with my coach yesterday, because I'm with someone for accountability, really, because
Yeah.
I want to lose
Yeah,
a
it's
little bit of weight.
accountability.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's accountability.
it is.
And she said to me, she was like, Megan, you've still not done your workout this week. I know that you said
Yeah.
that you really wanted to do it and you still
Yeah.
haven't done it. She was like, we've swapped them from 40-minute workouts to 10-minute workouts, like three
Yeah.
times a week. And she's like, you've still not done it. Like, why have you not done it? I was like, I'm just not prioritizing it.
Yeah, it is,
I
and it's
know
hard. It's hard when there's, like,
it's
so much going on
so
in life and
hard.
so many other people you have to take care of, and I think being a mom is definitely one of those things where you really learn what sacrifice is. Like, I feel like I've sacrificed everything for this baby and she's not even here, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it is, but it's actually like you can't, it's so cliche, you can't pour from an empty cup.
yeah,
And there are days where you're not. I was gonna go to the gym before, did I? No, I got my nails done, and like full transparency there. But it's like, okay, well, what can I do instead? Okay, maybe I can go on a walk later. That's what I mean about being fluid and not being so like
yeah,
rigid with things. It's like if things don't go to plan, it's like how can you adapt, right? It's like,
yeah, and
oh,
get them
you want,
involved.
yeah, you wanted to eat healthy, and then all of a sudden your in-laws are cooking and it's the complete opposite. And it's like, okay, well, what can I do now in this environment that's still going to make me feel good? And I think if you put making yourself feel good at the forefront of like things that are important, the better person and mom that you're gonna be. But it could look different every day. It is like it doesn't have to be, da 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 da. It's like, okay, well, I went on a walk instead, and that's good enough. And knowing that any sort of effort is good enough, even though it might not be the full thing that you had in mind. Maybe I'm not going to wash my hair today, but if I shower, wonderful.
Yeah. I've got a clean swollen vagina now.
Yeah, I'm like, Like, it's better than nothing, and
It
I think we can be a little bit all or nothing, and we can just, like, completely let ourselves go and just, like, lose ourselves. I don't mean, like, just, like, let ourselves go and get fat, but, like, I mean just,
is.
like, completely lose yourself, but, like,
Yeah.
I think it's, like, actually, okay, well, if I'm doing a little bit, that's better than nothing. And I think for those women, if you are like new to this or you're in it and you're swimming in the trenches and you're like, holy crap, like this is a lot. And you know what I mean? I don't know what's
Way
next.
out. Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to get through this. It's just knowing that you are going to get through it.
You are.
And I think the better your kind of like mindset can be with it, the kind of more comfortable you're going to be. It's like a breakup. You can go be in it and you could be so in it and like, woe is me and the world is against me and everything's wrong and why did it happen this way? And then it can be like, okay, well, it happened and I'm here now and this is the environment I'm in. So what can I do? What can
Yeah.
I do today to make myself feel that little bit better? And then it all compounds. It just compounds, compounds, compounds. And then one day
And
you
it
wake up and
just
you're like,
goes so
yeah,
fast. Like when you're in
yeah,
the trenches and you think, this is it forever. And there was times where I was suicidal and it was
yeah,
awful. And I
yeah,
truly believed I would never get through it. And now I'm through it and I look back at that version of me and
yeah,
all I want to
yeah,
do is hug her and
yeah,
tell her that it's okay. And
yeah.
I just want all of you listening, like, to know that my inbox is always open, like, if you are struggling, because, yeah, it's a lonely world.
It is, and it does feel like, oh my God, like this is it, this is the end. And it's funny, I was watching Molly May's YouTube video the other day, and she was like, "Wow, the second time round has been so much better because I know I'm gonna get through it." And I felt like
Yeah.
breakups were like that for me during my 20s. Like they're really hard at the start, and then the more you go through, you're like, "I got this, it's fine." Remember, I got fired from one job, and I felt like my world was ending because I was like, "Oh my God, how am I gonna make
I'm
money?
never
Like,
gonna get
what am
another
I gonna do?"
job.
The next time I got fired, I wrote a book. I was like,
Oh,
right, okay, well, this is the situation. So now we're going to turn this baby around. I was like, we're going to turn something terrible into something amazing. And that is literally when I wrote my book, I got fired. And I was like, right, well, that didn't work. So what am I going to do
I
instead?
love
Versus
that.
being like, the time before I was like scrambling for and like taking whatever I could get. I was like, I just need, I need some sense of safety and stability. And then realizing that that safety and stability is you, and
Yeah,
you're the only person who's going to be able to get yourself out of something. And sometimes that's just sitting with yourself. Sometimes that's just,
yeah,
listening to yourself, being with yourself, taking care of yourself, and you do get through. You always get through it. There's been nothing. If you're listening to this right now, there has been nothing in life that has defeated you. Therefore, you're gonna get through it. You know,
yeah.
N- just
I
having that
love
mindset of like nothing has taken me down yet, and I'm not letting it take me down now.
never again. Oh, I
Uh,
love it. I think that's a really good place to end. I think
yeah,
it's been incredible. But before we end the podcast, let's just touch on your book, Stripped to the
thank
Soul,
you.
right? Is that what it's called?
Trip to the soul.
There she goes. She's got it. Woohoo! So, what a gorgeous cover as well. I just love it.
Thank you.
It's incredible. So, first of all, where can people find you? Where can we buy the book? Like, yeah.
Very easily on Amazon. Love a little Amazon Prime if you're
Yeah.
in the UK. If you're in America, it's in Barnes and Noble, Target, Amazon, Walmart, nationwide pretty much. But yeah, best place in the UK is Amazon, and I would absolutely love the support. It's just like my own journey of life and healing and taking every lesson I've learned through heartbreak, loss, grief, family trauma, you name it. I feel like I was really, really given that life, and maybe it was for a reason. So yeah, I feel like hopefully you'll find a piece of yourself in my story,
Let's
and take something from it.
let's hope there's Stripped to the Soul, like part 2, motherhood journey.
I feel like I was like, people keep on saying this. I'm like, there's a book coming. There's a
There's-
book. Like, and
yeah,
I'm like,
I
let this
feel
baby come.
like we
But
need
it is.
this.
And it's a beautiful question I like to ask people is like, what would this chapter of your life be called? Because it is a
Mm,
book of different chapters of my life and the lessons that came through it and the trials and tribulations and kind of what I've taken from it and then how I've been able to move into the next chapter. And when you see life as a chapter, it's like, okay, what would this chapter be called? And
I
then
love
knowing that
that.
this chapter is going to end, so enjoy it. Because when you look back, it's like it happens and it's done. And like this book was like my childhood and my 20s and like everything and everything in between. And
Yeah.
realizing that those versions of yourself, they never leave you, they're just a part of your story. And when you look at life that way, that it's all just a piece of you and a part of your story, it makes you really proud of the journey that you've been on and the person that you are and the woman that you are and hopefully the mother that you are as well.
Absolutely. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Well, I appreciate this has been a gorgeous conversation. I know it's going to help
Yeah.
so many people out there. And yeah, I just want to thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Also, thank you for your wisdom. It's been so beautiful as a mum to be as well. And just being able to have those raw and like honest conversations and also hear other people's stories, like when you share birth stories and seeing how things help them and what can go wrong. How every
Yeah,
journey just is like it's a little bit of like going into the unknown and trusting that and like
I love
actually
it.
trusting the unknown, there's some
Yeah,
magic to be found in that.
bless you. Well, love you and leave you. We'll end the episode and I'll
Thank you
see
so
you
much,
next
guys.
time. Bye.